name is Daphna Liel, and I'm proud to host this important and special ceremony. Tonight, we celebrate extraordinary women and men whose achievements have expanded the boundaries of knowledge, science, and creativity, and whose work has influenced countless lives around the world, the Wolf Prize laureates. Each time, this occasion fills me with excitement. I would like to thank the Wolf Foundation for the privilege of being part of it. Distinguished guests, in a few minutes, we will begin the Wolf Prize Awards ceremony. Please silence your mobile devices to avoid any disturbance during the ceremony. Distinguished guests, good evening and welcome to the Wolf Prize Awards ceremony. The Wolf Prize has been awarded by the Wolf Foundation to distinguished scientists and artists from around the world for their unique contributions for the benefit of humanity and for friendly relations among peoples, irrespective of nationality, race, color, religion, gender, political view, or affiliation. The prize recognizes and honors scientists and artists for their groundbreaking achievements in advancing science in all its disciplines and arts in all their forms for the benefit of humanity as a whole. How eagerly we have awaited the opportunity to hold this inspiring event. It is my privilege to welcome the 2024 Wolf Prize laureates. Wolf Prize in Mathematics, Professor Noga Alon. Professor Adi Shamir. Wolf Prize in Medicine, Professor Boton Groska. Professor José Alen Sahel. Wolf Prize in Agriculture, Professor Venkatesan Sundaresan. Professor Elliot Merovich. And now I am honored to invite the 2025 Wolf Prize laureates. Wolf Prize in Physics, Professor Moti Heiblum. Professor Jainendra Jain. Wolf Prize in Chemistry, Professor Helmut Schwartz. Wolf Prize in Medicine, Professor Pamela Bjorkman. Wolf Prize in Agriculture, Professor Jonathan Jones. Professor Brian Staskowicz. Distinguished guests, please rise for the entrance of the President of Israel, the Deputy Speaker of the Knesset, and esteemed guests are now making their way into the hall. Please be seated. His Excellency, the President of the State of Israel, Mr. Yitzhak Herzog, Deputy Speaker of the Knesset, M.K. Simon Davidson and Mrs. Nuri Davidson, Minister of Education and Chair of the Wolf Foundation Council, Yoav Kish, and Mrs. Tali Kish, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Wolf Foundation, Mr. Ze'ev Abeles, Acting Chair of the Wolf Foundation Council, Professor Osnat Luxemburg, Knesset Director General Moshe Chico Edri, representatives of foreign missions, members of the Wolf Foundation, university presidents, rectors and scholars, past and present Wolf Prize laureates, distinguished guests. Welcome to the Wolf Prize Award ceremony. It is wonderful to gather here tonight in celebration of scientific discovery and artistic excellence. Dr. Ricardo Wolff, inventor, diplomat, and philanthropist, believed that science and art have the power to advance humanity and strengthen understanding among peoples. I'm convinced, he said, that science and art do more for humanity and for good relations among nations than all the politicians and diplomats in the world. The Wolff Foundation was the realization of that vision. This year marks 50 years of the Wolff Prize. Tonight, new laureates join this remarkable legacy. They will receive the prize here in the Knesset of Israel, in the Chagall State Hall, named after Marc Chagall, himself a Wolff Prize laureate.
Welcome to the Wolff Foundation Awards ceremony. This evening, we will be honoring science and art for the benefit of mankind. Wolff Foundation was founded in 1976 by Dr. Ricardo Wolff. His spirit guides the effort of the Wolff Foundation in promoting excellence and recognizing the contribution of the world's best scientists and artists for their significant contribution to humanity and friendship among people. Dr. Wolff believed in Jerusalem's destiny as the capital of wisdom and peace. The Wolff Prize has a prestigious international reputation and is considered the second most important award after the Nobel Prize. Over 30% of the laureates received the Nobel Prize for their groundbreaking achievements later on. In sciences, and art. The prize is awarded by a number of juries made up of distinguished global academics and professionals to more than 320 outstanding artists and scientists from across the world. In addition, the Wolff Foundation grants the Krill Prize for young, promising researchers, Ingeborg Bachmann Scholarship, established by Anselm Kiefer for promising artists, as well as scholarships for excellent students. The Wolff Foundation celebrates and honors those who have demonstrated excellence in their own fields and is confident that future generations will aspire to equal, if not exceed, their illustrious achievements. The Wolff Foundation, a seal of excellence.
It is my distinct honor to invite the President of the State of Israel, His Excellency, Mr. Yitzhak Herzog, to address the ceremony.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Deputy Speaker of the Knesset, Member of the Knesset, Simon Davidson, and Mrs. Nurit Davidson. Minister of Education and Chair of the Wolff Foundation Council, Mr. Yoav Kish and Mrs. Tali Kish. Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Wolff Foundation, Mr. Zev Abeles. Acting Chair of the Wolff Foundation Council, Professor Osnat Luxemburg. Knesset Director General Moshe Chico Edry, Director General of the Ministry of Health, Moshe Bar Simantov, representatives of foreign missions and delegations and embassies, members of the Wolff Foundation, university presidents, rectors, and scholars, past and present Wolff Prize laureates, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. I'm so very delighted to address you here at the Knesset, in the heart of Jerusalem, and I thank the Speaker of the Knesset, Mr. Amir Ohana, and his deputy, Simon Davidson, for welcoming us today. Dear friends, over a century ago, the famous French scientist Louis Pasteur taught us that, and I quote, "Science knows no country because knowledge belongs to humanity." This is an irrefutable faith. But it is also true that our pursuit of knowledge is never quite detached from the societies and circumstances in which it unfolds. That we need the ground of a country for the spirit of inquiry to flourish, that we need conditions of safety and liberty in order both to optimize our human creativity as well as to ensure that the fruits of our labors serve the finest of humanity. Dr. Ricardo Wolf chose to establish the Wolf Prize in Israel because he saw in our young country a spirit deeply aligned with the spirit of scientific endeavor. Incidentally, I think I'm one of the very few Israelis who met him. I met him as a child. He recognized the Israeli conviction and deep faith in life as an excellent starting point from which we as a society can generate kindness, growth, healing, and repair of our fractured world. Indeed, it is no coincidence that Ricardo Wolf and his wife Francesca chose to remain in Israel after concluding their diplomatic mission. We all realize that science alone, when separated from conscience, can be distorted to serve great harm. Yet, science in its best form, facilitated by human compassion and search of truth, can also become one of humanity's greatest instruments of progress and advancement. Thus, as masters of inquiry and discovery, we are called upon to also serve as guardians of conscience. This is of utmost importance as humanity enters what I call the AI age. Indeed, at this moment in the human story, in which our future will be heavily impacted by AI, we must insist that science always be anchored in a moral foundation that places human freedom, human dignity, and human morality at the center. Otherwise, we will find ourselves at the mercy of soulless machines. Distinguished laureates, each of you, through your bold exploration, has left your imprint on science, on the moral architecture of our world, and on the day-to-day reality of human beings. For this, we are grateful to all of you. I congratulate you all for looking beyond what is self-evident and for doing what your own conscience dictates to you. To my mind, this is the difference between a brilliant scientist and a worthy agent of change. Here, in the capital of the State of Israel, our beloved Jerusalem, in our shrine of democracy, we can appreciate the significance of discovery and creation emanating from a dream, pointing us towards a shared, better future. Here, in our 79th year of independence, we can dream together of peace in our region and around the world, in spite of the challenges, and indeed, they are great and big. Let's dream big. I want to thank the Wolf Foundation, its trustees, council, and committee members for choosing to recognize the true potential of science for humankind and for enhancing its realization. I thank Chairperson of the Wolf Foundation Council, my dear friend, Education Minister Yoav Kish, for his support of this wonderful enterprise. I take this opportunity to congratulate Professor Osnat Luxemburg on her prestigious appointment as the new acting chairwoman of the Wolf Foundation Council. Professor Luxemburg, you honor us and inspire us, and we all wish you great success. I also want to thank the chairman of the board, Zev Abeles, and the foundation's CEO, Reut Inon Berman. They both worked tirelessly. They worked tirelessly for the success of this enterprise. I wish you all, dear laureates, esteemed recipients of the 2024 and 2025 Wolf Prize, many fulfilling years of creativity and contribution to our family of humanity and nations, to our planet, and all human beings. May your quest for discovery remain rooted in wise hearts that know that there is no loftier goal than a freer, kinder, more compassionate world. Mazal Tov to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for those inspiring remarks. I now invite MK Simon Davidson, Deputy Speaker of the Knesset, to address us.
Honorable Mr. President of the State of Israel, Mr. Yitzhak Herzog, Minister of Education, Mr. Yoav Kish, distinguished laureates, ladies and gentlemen, the presentation of the Wolf Prizes, among the most important and prestigious awards in the world, is a moment of celebration. For you, the laureates, and for all of us, today we celebrate imagination, creativity, and free thought in science and in the arts as well. We honor the ability to look at the world around us, to refuse to accept obvious, to question, to discover, to explore. And in doing so, we expand the boundaries of knowledge, understanding, and human creativity. Wolf Prize laureates, as a Deputy Speaker of the Knesset, I am honored and proud to welcome you to the Knesset, the Parliament of the State of Israel. On behalf of the Knesset of Israel and on behalf of myself, I congratulate you on receiving this distinguished award. May you continue to explore, invent, and create, and to serve a source of inspiration and hope. Thank you very much for coming here, and Mazal Tov, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, MK Simon Davidson. Great ideas are not always born in a single moment. Sometimes they require years of searching, something you, the laureates, are very familiar with. It took Leonard Cohen 5 years to complete Hallelujah. Performing this special song for us is the singer-songwriter Rotem Sharabi. Rotem is the niece of late Yossi Sharabi and of Eli Sharabi, who returned from captivity after being held hostage.
May learned from love was how to shoot somebody who out through a yard. It's not a lie to see tonight. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Thank you so much, Rotem. The process of selecting Wolf Prize laureates is challenging, complex, and rigorous. The judging committees carefully examined hundreds of candidates among the very best in their fields. Tonight's laureates join an exceptional group of scientists and artists who have previously received this distinguished honor. It is my honor to invite the Minister of Education and Chair of the Wolf Foundation Council, Yoav Kish, to address us and present the prizes.
The Honorable President of the State of Israel, Mr. Yitzhak Herzog, Deputy Speaker of the Knesset member Simon Davidson, honored laureates and distinguished guests. At a time when artificial intelligence is gaining momentum in more and more areas of life and creativity, the ceremony that we are now holding here today is a proof of the power of human intelligence. Dear laureates, thanks to this intelligence, thanks to your creativity, experience, and especially thanks for your ability to think outside the box, you have succeeded, each in your own field, in bringing new ground and bringing about innovations and changes that benefits us all. The fact that you choose not to look at reality as an existing fact, but rather to see it as a starting point from which you can change, improve, renew, and to do better for all of us. You have proven that human imagination has no limits, and that human creativity is a tremendous source of fulfilling dreams. You have proven what powers are inherent within curiosity, and just how it can push humanity forward towards a more promising future. Ladies and gentlemen, every scientist, every artist, and every creator is first and foremost a curious, unique, and creative student. He is not necessarily the best student in the class, but he has the spark, the attitude that categorized groundbreaking inventors, scientists, and artists. As the Minister of Education, I can tell you that this is the great challenge facing every education system. And it is as true for kindergartens as it for high school students. To be able to detect that spark and to nurture and encourage it. The education system must be such that enables a learning environment that encourages questions, critical thinking, creativity, and research. The secret of the system is the trust between the educator and the child. Every child needs an educator who believes in him, who will find in him the unique talent that lies within him. This is how researchers are born, this is how inventors are born, and this is how artists flourish. This is how we will nurture the winners in future generation of the Wolf Foundation Prize. Investing in education is an investment in the future of the country, in the future of society, and there is no investment more important than this. Distinguished laureates, I would like to thank you for your many years of work and creativity, each to do the best of his and her abilities and skills so that we may all live in a better world. Thank you very much for all what you're doing. Thank you for your professional curiosity and constant pursuit of achievement and excellence, and for being an inspiration and role model for many others. We are proud that the ceremony is taking place here in the Knesset this year, after 2 years in which we were unable to hold it here due to the realities of the security situation. Since the beginning of the war, we've witnessed a troubling and alarming rise in anti-Semitism on campuses and within academic institutes around the world. In the face of this phenomena, we all share a responsibility to stand together and to combat it with determination. Precisely at a time like this, strengthening Israeli Academy, promoting research excellence together, and deepening international cooperation are even more important than ever. The very fact that you all came here to Israel from different kinds of corners of the world is a source of encouragement and support for us, and for that I thank you as well. I would like to thank the Wolf Foundation for its work over the years, and especially for its contribution to Israeli society and advancing science and art for the benefit of all humanity. We will continue to work together to foster creativity and innovation, because these are the conditions for a more promising future for all of us. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you, Minister of Education, Yoav Kish. I invite Acting Chair of the Wolf Foundation Council, Professor Osnat Luxemburg, to join the Minister in presenting the certificates. And now, the moment that we all gathered for, the award presentation. Are you ready? 2024 Wolf Prize in Mathematics.
I think I decided pretty early. What I liked was mathematical puzzles. But in mathematics, there is this objective notion of what is true and what is not, and you can't argue about it.
As a kid, I used to build electronic devices, launch rockets, do chemical experiments. When I was invited to join a science summer camp held at the Weizmann Institute, and I was so impressed that it was there and then that I decided to be a scientist.
Basically, I work in what is called discrete mathematics or combinatorics, which is the mathematics of finite objects. A question that was raised by Hadwiger and de Brunner, a classical theorem of Helly and combinatorial Nullstellensatz.
One of the biggest problems in my career had been whether factoring large numbers is indeed a difficult problem. This problem had been studied for hundreds of years, but we have no proof that it will remain so in the future. And we can all wake up tomorrow morning learning that there is a fast factoring algorithm, which of course is going to major impact on cryptography in general and on the RSA in particular.
One of the projects that I can try to describe is what is called the streaming algorithms, efficient procedures to estimate some properties of huge amounts of data on the fly. And this is useful when we want to monitor traffic in the internet, maybe also when we have a huge amount of data coming from space.
It's very easy to explain my field to a 10-year-old, from making codes to breaking codes, from complexity to algorithms. Suppose that you have a major secret and want to share it with your best friend, but you're afraid that your parents are eavesdropping to all your communication. Can you still send them this secret? I'm very grateful to the Wolf Foundation for selecting me to receive the highly prestigious Wolf Prize, and I'm particularly happy to share it with my good friend Noga Alon.
Of course, I'm delighted and honored to get the Wolf Prize. Getting recognition always helps, and the Wolf Prize is a very prestigious prize.
I am honored to invite Professor Noga Alon. I am honored to invite Professor Adi Shamir. '24 Wolf Prize in Medicine.
Losing vision is a major problem for society, especially with aging. More and more people are becoming blind. My research aims to restore vision.
I was really impressed with the beauty of the eye, the complexity of the system. My main interest was really how to restore function in patients. I met with Boton Roska. We started to really collaborate very closely on developing optogenetics, reactivating what we call the dormant cones in the retina, cells that are no longer functional.
Optogenetic vision restoration is a way of making cells in the retina light sensitive, cells that lost its sensitivity. So the starting point is a blind retina, and we take gene therapy vector that encodes for a light sensitive protein and bring it to the eye. We inject into the eye and then target it to particular cell types in the retina to make them light sensitive.
The typical trial is always in patients that are end stage, that have nothing to lose. So in our case, totally blind patient. Maybe this patient had no vision for 10, 15, 20 years. So we didn't know at that time what we could expect exactly, but obviously we were hopeful of something.
Finding ways of repairing vision is not only an exciting journey technically, but it offers hope to millions of patients who lost their vision.
He started to report spontaneously that using the goggles, he could see in the street the stripes, the crosswalks. This was the first ever demonstration of optogenetics in humans, not just in ophthalmology. The day a patient tells you that we see something, you think, okay, it was not totally crazy, but it tells you that you are on the track to achieve something. One of them was telling me, it's like my eyes are alive again. 20, 30 years of work for a few seconds of joy, but it's worth it.
I can make an impact on medicine by trying to restore vision in blind patients. I was extremely pleased to receive the Wolf Prize, and especially I was happy because I got it together with my longtime collaborator, José Sahel.
So I'm very grateful for receiving the Wolf Prize. First of all, it's one of the most important awards, and I never thought I would get to that level.
So my hope is my research will help to contribute to make the lives of these people better.
So this pathway is a very long path, and you don't really know whether you're going to be successful. So sometimes you shoot in the dark and there is light at the end of the dark.
I am honored to invite Professor Boton Roska. I am honored to invite Professor José Sahel. 2024 Wolf Prize in Agriculture.
I think I've always wanted to be a scientist since I was a child, though I didn't know what a scientist was. I was just intensely curious about the universe.
I like studying plants because they're beautiful, they affect our lives, really smart and cool, and they've had a lot of years to evolve.
The predominant organisms on Earth are plants. We really have very little idea how they grow and how they do the things they do. We'd really like to understand how plant cells communicate with each other.
How do plants change their size and their shapes?
Plants are what we eat. Plants mediate the carbon cycle. They're very lively and active. It's a huge mystery of great human importance.
And having grown up in India where I had experienced famines in my childhood, studying plants would have a more direct impact on developing countries. Hybrids are incredibly productive, much more than inbred varieties. We can increase yields, for example, of rice by 20% or more. Using the same land, the same water, just switch the seeds. There's just one problem with hybrids. You make them by crossing, and that makes them expensive. So now you could make embryos that were unfertilized, but they were asexual. The offspring were genetically identical to the parent. And the cost of hybrids now becomes affordable to everybody. In fact, it's free after the first time. Hybrid seeds can potentially help feed the world more sustainably.
We want to coach plants to do certain things better. There's too much CO2 in the atmosphere right now. The Harvesting Plants Initiative has the goal to coach plants so that they can better grab CO2 from the atmosphere during photosynthesis and then fix it and put it into the ground as soluble carbon. This will allow humanity to live on the earth.
We work mostly at the level of individual cells. How does a cell know which organ it's in so that it can turn into the right cell type? And it's that sort of pattern formation followed by morphogenesis that we're trying to understand. We're advancing into the unknown, and we're doing it with something that's very familiar, but they're mysterious. Plants are at the center of everything we do. They're in charge of what's going on in the carbon cycle and help us with the problems that we create by burning fossil plants. If we can understand the role of plants in the carbon cycle, perhaps we can do something. What I think about receiving this award is it's a wonderful recognition to have such a prominent award given for work in those areas is bound to attract bright students and postdocs to the field and help the field to grow even more.
This prize, the Wolf Prize, came as a big surprise, really. I really was taken aback. It's really nice to have this recognition.
I'm deeply thrilled and honored to receive this award. You know, it's really hard to follow in the footsteps of the great ones. At the end of my career, you know, I see myself hopefully making a big impact by what we plant in fields. So that's very exciting.
Professor Joanne Corey sadly passed away before receiving the prize. We extend our condolences. I am honored to invite Professor Venkatesan Sundaresan. I am honored to invite Professor Elliot Meyerowitz. '25 Wolf Prize in Physics.
I was born in 1947 to parents that arrived from the Holocaust.
As long as I can remember, I dreamed of becoming a physicist. An uncommon choice in India in those days. I loved the stories of physicists like Einstein, Raman, Bose.
My first steps were in IBM Research Center. I had an empty lab, one technician. I did everything with my hands. And this really allowed me later on, coming to Weizmann, to be able to build the center.
started studying layered materials. So these are layers of two-dimensional electron gas which are kind of coupled to each other.
We work with electrons sitting in a two-dimensional area, gas, under very high magnetic field.
The Wolf Prize is related to a field called the fractional quantum Hall effect, kind of resistance, which is called the Hall resistance. It suddenly occurred to me that I could make sense of this phenomenon by introducing a new particle that's called the composite fermion. Suddenly everything makes sense.
If you apply a large magnetic field, they start behaving to the observer as there are fractions of electrons. The place that we are sitting now is a place which I built in 1990, a sub-micron center. And now it's one of the best departments, I think, in the world. The Wolf Prize, receiving it was sort of like a thunderstorm.
It's kind of hard to believe that I have won this highly prestigious Wolf Prize. Somewhere deep in my heart, I still feel like a clueless boy from an Indian village.
If I don't sleep at night, it's because I think about new ideas.
I am honored to invite Professor Moti Heiblum. I am honored to invite Professor Jainendra Jain. Wolf Prize in Chemistry.
When I was young, I hoped to become an internationally successful football player, but that did not work out. And so I decided eventually to study something more serious. I think chemistry is one of the most exciting subjects one can think of, that it combines art with engineering, how to explore the unknown. Is there a way that one can isolate aristocratic atoms and do chemistry atom by atom, studying the so-called intrinsic properties? In my rather long academic career, I have been asked, what is it good for? What are you doing? And my standard answer was, when the great Michael Faraday was one day asked by the British Prime Minister, what is your work good for? Faraday's answer was, one day you will tax it. Everything what we take for granted can be traced back to basic research. The usefulness of useless knowledge. The GPS can be traced back to Albert Einstein. Paul Dirac postulated the existence of antimatter. He didn't think about PET to detect cancer. Though my whole academic career was guided by this principle, and I am more than delighted that the work we have been doing has been recognized by the Wolf Prize, the pinnacle in my whole career.
I am honored to invite Professor Helmut Schwarz. Wolf Prize in Medicine.
I'm often asked if I always wanted to be a scientist when I was young, and the answer is definitely not. What really shifted me into wanting to do science was a chemistry class I took in high school. When I started graduate school, I began working on the structural biology of molecules in the immune system. I got really fascinated with the idea that you could learn from three-dimensional structures. These are SARS-CoV-2 spike proteins with the variable parts of antibodies, and then this one is an HIV spike protein. Over 30 million people are infected with HIV in the world right now. There are so many different strains of HIV. You can imagine how hard it is to make a vaccine. Well, we and others have been trying. Because humanity keeps moving in and encroaching on the living habitats of animals, especially bats, then there's spillovers into people all the time. But what I want to do is be able to make vaccines that would prevent another spillover from turning into a pandemic. The award is based on a number of things throughout what I've been working on ever since I was a graduate student. I am really honored to receive the Wolf Prize in Medicine. I was certainly not expecting this, I have to say. But I'm very, very grateful that our work is appreciated.
I am honored to invite Professor Pamela Bjorkman. World Prize in Agriculture.
I grew up in a small town in California, and I hunted and fished in the streams, and that got me interested in science.
I always was most excited about science in my classes at school. Inspirational was the periodic table.
I often thought I also wanted to be an architect because I really liked design and designing buildings, but then I realized that biology was my true passion. And then I really got an interest in plant-microbe interactions.
My mission really is to replace chemistry with biology for crop disease control.
The first steps that I had, we were interested in trying to confirm that there must be immune receptors on plant cells that would recognize pathogens.
What we've done over the last 35 plus years is to identify a lot of immune receptor genes and the corresponding proteins and made significant contributions to figuring out how these immune receptors work.
To really understand how do we make sustainable agriculture, especially in the face of climate change. We're using gene editing technologies to actually make mutations that make plants more resistant to pathogens. We've basically studied the immune system of plants, and we worked out many of the signaling pathways and also the mechanisms of plant disease resistance.
Our research on the plant immune system will ultimately benefit humanity by providing rapid tools to understand and deploy plant innate immune receptors to combat disease.
What we did was to use a maize transposon in tomato to identify a tomato gene for disease resistance. So that was probably one of my more exciting moments. I wanted to be in a field where I could make some kind of a contribution to address real-world problems.
I have never questioned my choice of becoming a scientist. It has always been a joy and a pleasure to have like-minded people around me together as we try to understand the nature of the plant immune system. So I've received a share of the Wolf Prize with my dear friends Brian Staskowitz and Jonathan Jones, working together on this topic since the late 1980s.
Well, obviously, this is a great honor to be able to receive this award because often plant pathology has not been recognized by these types of awards.
It's very exciting to get this prize. What this award does is to recognize the value of what we do in that community, along with my co-awardees, Jeff Dangle and Brian Staskowitz.
Professor Jeffrey Dangle could not be with us due to medical circumstances. The prize was presented to him at his home last year. We send our warmest wishes. I am honored to invite Professor Jonathan Jones. I am honored to invite Professor Brian Staskowitz. guests, ladies and gentlemen, the 2024 and 2025 Wolf Prize laureates.
Dear laureates, much has been said this evening about you and your outstanding scientific achievements. There's little left to add except that I'm certain that if Dr. Ricardo Wolf would have been with us today, he would be extremely proud of each and every one of you. As someone deeply involved in science research and innovation, I know how much dedication, persistence, and hard work are required to reach this moment. Your efforts create a mosaic of discoveries and breakthroughs that benefits humanity. I would like to take a moment and to express my gratitude to the judging committees, the council, the members of the foundation, and the board of trustees for their commitment and dedications. Dear laureates, as you have experienced over the past few days, Wolf is more than just a foundation. It is a family. And this is with great honor and privilege, we welcome you today into our family. Congratulations, and thank you all.
Thank you. I thank Minister Yoav Kish and Professor Osnat Luxenberg. And now I invite all the laureates to the front for the award of the Medal of Excellence. Please come forward. You can come forward. Please come forward. I am honored to invite the President of the State of Israel, Mr. Yitzhak Herzog, to award the Wolf Medals for Excellence. invite Minister of Education, MK Yoav Kish, Deputy Speaker of the Knesset, MK Simon Davidson, the Chair of the Trustees, Mr. Zev Abeles, Professor Asnat Luxemburg, and the Director General, Ms. Reut Inon Berman, to join. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wolf Prize laureates, please welcome them with a warm round of applause. Distinguished guests, thank you so much. Please rise for the singing of Israel's national anthem, Hatikva, performed by Rotem Sharabi.
כל עוד בלבב פנימה נפש יהודי הומייה פתי מזרח קדימה עין לציון צופיה עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים.
Please remain seated until the President of the State of Israel has exited the hall. This concludes the Wolf Prize Awards ceremony. Congratulations to the laureates. Thank you all, and good night.